The restaurant sat on the top floor of a glass tower, all polished marble, low golden lights, and quiet music that felt expensive just to breathe in. The city glittered beyond the windows, like it was putting on a show for the people inside. For Elena Cross, this place was familiar. She'd closed million-dollar deals over wine here, rejected investors with a smile, and once fired a senior executive between courses without raising her voice. Tonight, though, she wasn't here as CEO. Tonight, she was here because her board chair had insisted she try being human for once, and agreed to a blind date. Elena arrived exactly on time, heels clicking with confidence, tailored black dress sharp as her reputation. She scanned the room once, already irritated. Blind dates were inefficient. There was no resume, no background report, no control. She hated all of it. Her date stood up when he saw her. He was not what she expected. Mid-30s, maybe early 40s. Broad shoulders under a simple navy jacket that had seen better days. His hair was neatly trimmed but not styled, his shoes clean but worn. No flashy watch, no air of power. He smiled politely, not nervously, not arrogantly, just calmly. "Elena," he asked. She nodded, already disappointed. "You're Daniel," he said. "Nice to meet you." They shook hands. His grip was firm, confident. That annoyed her more than it should have. They sat. For the first few minutes, she tried. She really did. She asked what he did for work. "I consult," Daniel said. Her eyebrow lifted. "Consult in a few areas," he replied. "Operations, risk management, sometimes logistics." That vague answer confirmed her suspicion. Another man who wanted to sound impressive without being impressive. "And you?" he asked. "I'm the CEO of Cross Biomedical," she said, watching his face carefully. If he was like most men, there would be a flicker surprise, intimidation, greed. Daniel simply nodded. "I know," he said. "You were on the cover of Forbes last quarter." No flattery. No fawning. Strike two? Dinner arrived. Elena barely touched hers. Daniel asked about her company's mission. She answered clinically. He listened genuinely and asked questions that were sharp to sharp. He noticed supply chain vulnerabilities, regulatory pressure points, things only insiders usually understood. She narrowed her eyes. "You said you consult. For whom exactly?" Daniel smiled faintly. "Mostly governments. Sometimes NGOs. Occasionally private firms when things get complicated." That irritated her. She hated ambiguity when she wasn't in control of it. "So you're unemployed?" she said flatly. Daniel didn't flinch. "I choose my work." She smirked and took a sip of wine. "I don't have time for men who are still figuring things out." "I understand," he said calmly. "I don't have much time either. I'm a single dad." That earned him her full attention, mostly judgment. "Oh," she said, "that must be challenging." "It is," Daniel replied, "but worth it." She leaned back. "I'll be honest, Daniel. This isn't really my scene. Blind dates. Emotional baggage. I prefer people who match my pace." "I wasn't aware this was a race," he said gently. That was strike three. Elena checked her phone. "I think we can skip dessert." Daniel nodded. "That's fine." They stood. She reached for her purse, then stopped. "I'll have my driver take me." How did you get here?" "Train," he said. "Of course," she thought. She turned to leave, already rehearsing how she'd explain this disaster to the board chair. She barely noticed the man at the bar watching her as she passed. Outside, the night air was cold. Her driver hadn't arrived yet. Elena Cross? She turned. The man from the bar stood too close now. His smile was wrong. "Yes, your security detail usually rotates on Tuesdays," he said casually. But tonight, it didn't. Her stomach tightened. "Who are you?" "Someone who needs you to come with me." Daniel stepped out of the restaurant, just in time to see the man reach for Elena's arm. "Hey," Daniel said calmly. She said no. The man laughed. "This doesn't concern you, buddy." Daniel's posture changed subtly, like a switch had flipped. "It does now," he said. The man swung. Daniel moved faster than Elena could process. He blocked the strike, twisted the man's wrist, and slammed him against the car with controlled force, not brutal, precise. Another figure emerged from the shadows. "Daniel," Elena shouted. He glanced at her. "Stay behind me." 2 more men appeared. This wasn't a random mugging. Daniel scanned the street, calculating angles, distances, escape routes. "Elena, when I say run, you run toward the lobby and scream for security." "What now?" She hesitated. That hesitation almost cost her everything. One man lunged with a knife. Daniel intercepted, using the attacker's momentum against him, disarming him in one fluid motion. Another came from behind. Daniel took a hit to the ribs but stayed upright, returning force efficiently, dropping the man without unnecessary damage. Elena ran. Gunfire cracked the night. Daniel tackled her just as glass shattered behind them. They hit the ground hard. "Stay down," he said, shielding her with his body. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it would break her ribs. Sirens wailed in the distance. The attackers fled. Minutes later, police swarmed the area. Elena sat shaking in the back of an ambulance, staring at Daniel as paramedics treated a gash on his forehead. "Who are you?" she whispered. He met her eyes. "I told you. I consult." The truth unraveled quickly after that. The attack wasn't personal, it was strategic. Elena's company was weeks away from approving a medical contract that would bankrupt a criminal syndicate. They wanted leverage, fear, control. Daniel, he'd been on their radar for years. Former special operations, counter-terrorism, crisis response. The consulting wasn't a lie, it just wasn't something he advertised on dating profiles. Elena visited him the next day at a modest apartment. Toys lay neatly stacked in a corner. A little girl peeked out from behind a door. "This is Sophie," Daniel said. "My world." Elena swallowed. "You saved my life." Daniel shrugged. "I did what needed doing." She looked around. No luxury. No ego. Just quiet strength. "I misjudged you," she said softly. "Yes," he agreed. No bitterness. Just honesty. Silence stretched between them. "Why did you agree to the date?" she asked. Daniel smiled. "Because someone I trust said you were brilliant and lonely." That hit harder than any insult. Over the weeks that followed, Elena found herself calling Daniel not for protection, but for perspective. He challenged her, questioned her decisions, never tried to impress her. And slowly, she learned something that terrified her more than the attack ever had. Power didn't always look like control. Strength didn't always announce itself. And the man she dismissed in minutes had proven himself in seconds. When it mattered most, the city still glittered outside her window at night. But now, when Elena thought about safety, about trust, about what truly saved her life, she didn't think of money. She thought of a single dad who took the train, asked the right questions, and stood in front of a bullet without hesitation.